Welcome back to Casual Friday here on Behind the Table. I'm just going to tell people what happened. This is the now third time that we've tried to start the podcast.
Yeah.
The first time it was because your underwear was in the middle of the hallway here for some reason. Do you have anything to say about this before HR gets involved?
Well, I changed into a pair of Spanx.
Oh, they're in your pocket. I can see them still.
Whatever. They're lacy and black and sexy. What's wrong with you? When was the last time you saw a pair of lacy?
It's been a while.
Okay, go ahead. What else?
All right. Well, no, that'll do. The second time your mic wasn't on, but okay. So
listen, I don't know
why was your underwear in the middle of the hallway of the studio? You were changing in the corner.
Yes, and what's the problem?
I don't
listen
know.
to me.
I wore jeans and I felt weird about it
I took
today.
a red eye last night
Yes.
from California. I don't know what state I'm in. I don't know what city I'm
know
in.
what
I don't
state
know
you're
what
in.
day I'm in, and I don't know what time it is. Other
right.
than that,
Welcome
Mrs.
to the
Lincoln.
podcast. Do you show up at Bleep with Anna Navarro, half dressed and soused or whatever's going on with you right now?
What is soused?
Drunk, but you're not.
I'm
I know.
not drunk.
I know. I just like to spread rumors.
Soused?
Yes,
I thought it was sauced.
that's a different thing.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, stop talking about meaningful stuff. I'm done with this small talk.
Okay, I'm just saying. I feel like ever since.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
At least when I show up hungover, I have an excuse for why I'm tired and sleepy,
Yeah.
as opposed to you who show up perfectly sober and constantly fall asleep while we are speaking.
When I have trouble sleeping at night, I put on your podcast, and that just puts me out real quick. It's great. No, here's the thing. I'm just going to throw it out there. Since Bleep with Anna Navarro has started, and it's a big success, people like it very much, I feel like you've kind of half-assed this podcast. I'm just throwing it out there. I feel like this is now your leftovers.
Is this a real thing?
It's a little real. It's a little.
Oh
there's a
my
little truth in
God.
everything.
Well,
I'm just saying.
You've got 4 other bitches to interview. Leave
All
me
right, I'm
alone.
just saying. I feel like I'm not getting your all. That's all.
Okay. Anybody else bring a dog?
No, thank God you bring Cha-Cha.
Anybody else drop their underwear on the floor?
Not going to touch that one. All right, so you just came back from California, which seems like it was a little bit of work and a little bit of play. Tell me about it.
It was. So I had to go to. I was going to a wedding over Memorial Day weekend. Was it Memorial Day that we just had?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. It was Memorial Day weekend, and it was a wonderful wedding. But while I was there, I wanted to do some interviews and also promote my own podcast,
Yes.
Bleep with Anna Navarro.
Yes.
And one of the things I did was I interviewed the person, one of the front runners for governor of California, whose name I'm going to make you pronounce, Brian.
Xavier Becerra. No? How'd I do?
Try again.
I got. That's all I got. You got one shot out of me to mock me. What did you? What? Say it for me, please.
Javier Becerra.
Becerra. Damn it. All right.
Okay. Get used to saying his name because I think he might be the next governor of California, and at that point
There we
we can
go.
book him. Anyways, so I interviewed Javier Becerra, and I interviewed Mayor Karen Bass, and
I know how to say
who's
that.
running for re-election. And so Javier Becerra, in California, it's a jungle primary. And if any Californians are listening, the primary is June 2nd. So if they haven't voted, they got early voted, they've got until June 2nd to vote. They can show up on June 2nd and vote. And these are important elections. And in California, it's a jungle primary. So the governor's race, and also the mayor's race. So it's not partisan, a partisan primary. The top 2 go on to the runoff if nobody gets a majority. And right now it looks like this Republican who's like a Fox News, former Fox News contributor, MAGA, Trump-loving, Trump-endorsed guy named Hilton. Nothing to do with the Hilton family. He's like from Britain or somewhere.
Yeah.
Is going to get the Republican vote. So he looks likely to advance to the runoff. And then it's between Tom Steyer, who has now spent $250 million. I've actually known Becerra for 32 years. And because I knew him when he was a young congressman and I was a young lobbyist. And it was kind of fun to reminisce some. Because, I've been watching the governor's debates, and there's the governor's primary debates, and there's been 7, 8, 9 people on the stage. It's been crazy. Everybody gets 30 seconds to respond.
Right.
So honestly, I have watched 2 of them. Each of them have been 2 hours long, and I don't think I have learned one thing that if I was in California would help me decide who to vote for. So I asked Tom Steyer also for an interview, which he didn't give me. But Javier sat down with me and we talked about all the issues. There's a lot of issues in California. And I'm going to go back to that because I think it's relevant given Newsom. So California is this magical place, right? Magical topography, mountains, ocean, Hollywood, the whole thing. But there's like this feeling of malaise in the state. Like people are just overwhelmed by all of the big crises facing the state. Economic crisis, housing crisis, homelessness. There's a capital flight, people fleeing the state. Hollywood industry is going through a very hard time, and they are losing productions in California. So the movie industry, it's cheaper to fly an entire cast to Scotland than it is to film in Hollywood, and it's such an iconic industry. So there's a bunch of things going on, the fires, all sorts of things.
Right.
And so I talked to him about that, but I also talked to him about his entire life, right? He's the son of poor Mexican immigrants, and somehow he got into Stanford, went to Stanford Law, became a very young congressman. That's where I first met him, and I remember him being a young father and going to the Judiciary Committee markups of an immigration bill, and he was holding his baby and would be feeding the baby because his wife is like a high-risk OBGYN. So Javier Becerra's wife, Carolina, is an OBGYN, and she gave birth and she went back to work.
Wow.
And Becerra was showing up at Congress with this baby and feeding the baby. That baby's now 31 years old. So that's how long we've known each other. And then, he was Attorney General of California and he was Secretary of HHS. Anyways, he's likely, I think, to get into the runoff with Steve Hilton. And then Karen Bass, I will say this. I was very impressed that she sat down with me because we've talked about her a lot
No, we've
on
been
this
critical.
show.
Yeah.
And I have been harshly critical.
Yeah.
And I was harshly critical of her even before the fires and before she was elected mayor when she was in Congress, because at one point she was being considered by Joe Biden as a possible vice president. And I thought, and she's done things like go to Cuba. Her positions on that are something that I don't agree with, that I haven't agreed with, and I just thought she would be hurtful to the Biden ticket. Not that it would have made a difference because he would have lost Miami and he would have lost Florida. Anyways, but she knows that. She knows that I've been critical, and she sat down with me and we had a very frank conversation about some of the, issues that she's being held accountable for.
Right.
The response to the fire, the fact I thought she was incredibly pragmatic. And listen, everything in life is about choices and the choices in front of you, right? And, I think Karen Bass has made mistakes. I think she's learned from them. I do think she has extensive experience because she's, before she was first elected, then she was in Congress. She was in the state legislature in California. And now she's had, 4 years as mayor. And I'm sorry, but if I have to choose between Karen Bass, who's made mistakes that I think she's learned from, or a reality star who's got zero experience and is like running a campaign based on memes and social media, I will go for the imperfect and experienced Karen Bass.
Did you talk about Spencer Pratt with her at all?
Well, yeah, I asked her, does it blow your mind that you're running against a guy with zero experience who's a reality star endorsed by Trump and running a campaign based on social media? And but she kept it positive. She's, kind of like both of them, both Becerra and Karen Bass are like very different from Gavin Newsom, let's say.
Right.
And that's one of the things I talked to Becerra about, because I said, look, I think out in the rest of the country and Democrats in the rest of the country and Trump opponents in the rest of the country look at Gavin Newsom as somebody who's giving it to Trump, who's going toe-to-toe with him, who's fighting fire with fire. If Trump tweets out something stupid, Gavin responds with, a tweet. And
is that playing differently in California?
Well, I kind of, it gives me satisfaction, but I'm not sure it's done anything to help the state.
Right.
And the state has all of these
Problems.
huge issues. And so I was there a week, and it made me wonder, is Gavin Newsom as viable as I think we who are not in California want to turn him into? Is he as good a candidate? Will he be as good a nominee as I think those of us who are not in California living through what they are living through want to turn him into this, this perfect candidate? And I think the baggage from California is real. And I think it would be a huge albatross around his neck that he would have to explain, because that's what he brings to the table.
Right.
2 terms as governor of California, and it is a state with enormous, enormous problems. That being said, it's still beautiful.
I'm a fan of it too. Moving on for a second, I know there was an Axios headline that caught your eye that we wanted to talk about. Buyer's remorse hits Trump's Latino voters. So, you brought paperwork.
I wish I knew how to say "I told you so" in Spanish.
I believe we have several.
Actually, I do. Se
Please
lo
tell me.
dije. I told you all that he was coming for your tías and your abuelas and your friends and your colleagues and the children in the school. So yeah, a lot of it. The primary reason that he's losing Latino support. And Trump made great inroads with particularly Latino men and Black men as well.
A very surprising amount. I mean, he really did well in 2024.
He did well. He, won did incredibly well in Miami, turned it around for the first time, but also in places like the Rio Grande Valley in Texas. But now, you see where Latinos are, and the level of disapproval for him in the Southwest and California. The one area that's where he still has majority support is Florida. It's Miami, and
Right.
I think it's because of the Cuba stuff and the Venezuela stuff, and just how important that is.
And it's his home field
to the exile community. But yeah, he has lost an enormous share of support in the rest of the country amongst Latinos, and so the number one reason is the economy. Because like everybody else, they're having to pay so much money and just can't afford things. And the second reason is immigration,
Right.
The way immigration enforcement has been carried out. And if you notice, the Trump administration is trying very hard to get immigration out of the headlines, right? And he just said this week he doesn't care about the midterms.
midterms. Yes.
If he didn't care about the midterms, he wouldn't be rigging and gerrymandering districts so as to give Republicans an advantage. If he didn't care about the midterms, he would still be carrying out the cruelty and inhumanity and occupation of American cities like we saw in LA, like we saw in Minneapolis, like we saw in Chicago, like we've seen everywhere. So they've done away with those kind of like headline grabbing enforcement and inhumanity. But there's still 4,000 plus children being held in deplorable conditions in detention centers. There's still people including Cubans and from other countries that are being deported to war-torn countries in Africa, like Sudan, where they have zero connection to. There's, the inhumanity that is still happening and the targeting of Latinos is still happening. It's just not grabbing the headlines. But I bet you that once the midterms are over, Stephen Miller's not going away, and he's not going to change his tactics. I mean, what they did this week of ordering that people who qualify for a legal permanent residency can't adjust their status in country and have to go back to their country, that is cruel. That means family separation. That means suffering. That means that there are people who are going to choose not to become residents that qualify because I mean, could I go back to Nicaragua? No. Could some of these people go back to Venezuela or Cuba? No. So, I mean, it's cruelty upon cruelty.
Well, speaking of the midterms and the elections, as you know, Trump-backed candidate in Texas, Ken Paxton, which was controversial, and then he defeated John Cornyn. The feeling was that Ken Paxton would be a easier win for Democrats. Do you still feel that's the case?
I don't think Texas is ever an easy win for Democrats. I think I think this is as good a shot as they've had.
Right.
I think Tallarico has grown as a candidate in the last few months because he won his primary a few months ago, back in like February or March. So he's now had a few months as the general candidate. And I think that if you were going to think up of a dream Republican opponent in Texas, it would be Ken Paxton, who has, talk about baggage,
Right.
talk about problems. These are ethical problems. These are alleged legal problems. He was impeached by his own party in the state legislature. It was Republicans who impeached him for ethical issues and corruption. So, he's got horrible marital scandals. I mean,
I've been watching
just pick a scandal.
I've been
This
watching
guy
the
has
attack
it.
ads on both sides.
Oh, they're horrible.
And, the attack ads against James Tallarico, who's running for the Democrats, it's all about basically he's not real Texas. He doesn't eat enough meat, or he's a vegan, but he says he's not. Or he said something, he said something in favor of trans children. He said something about God having multiple genders. God is non-binary. And it just seems that's what they've got to go with. And I'm curious. I'm not a Texan. I don't know whether that's going to work. But it seems like the playbook is to make him seem not manly enough and weak.
Yeah. Okay. So
I don't know if does that mean anything, do you think?
I do think that means something.
Yeah.
Particularly in Texas. Look, harping on and turning the LGBTQ issue
It's worked for them.
into a wedge issue has worked in the past. So I think they're going to continue playing that and using that playbook for as long as they can milk it. Frankly, I mean, I'm not a theologian, but I don't know why people want to always
100%.
assume that Jesus is this white, flaxen-haired, blue-eyed guy.
I think it's specifically
from
the use,
an Arab country, and that God is. I mean, God is supposed to be all things,
all-encompassing in all things, 100%.
So I don't know that I would describe him as
Non-binary,
non-binary.
yeah.
But I would describe him.
I think it's that term that they're
as
using and
all
weaponizing.
encompassing, and
Right. And I think that's what he meant.
kind of like all things to all people.
Yeah, it's interesting though. I'm curious to see, because you're right. On paper, the amount of baggage that Paxton has is unbelievable.
Well, and he's going to have to, and they're Republicans now, even if Paxton wins, but they're going to have to spend hundreds of millions of dollars in a place that they usually would not have to
right.
spend a dime. Not only that, but Texas is losing, and John Cornyn. I know John Cornyn. I have worked with John Cornyn in the past. I remember campaigning with John Cornyn when John McCain was running for president. John Cornyn is a great fundraiser for Republicans. I've seen him in Miami and Florida fundraising many a time through the years, and he is also a senator with incredible seniority. So the amount of political
They're losing
muscle
some stuff.
that he brought to the institution of the Senate, what Texas is losing with a guy like John Cornyn, who came just a few votes away from being the majority leader of the Senate when Mitch McConnell retired, and has been in Senate leadership in the Senate. That's like a big blow when you lose that level of seniority and authority in a place where ranking and seniority matters so much, like the Senate does. And to replace him for this, unethical buffoon. I mean, I think it's insane. And I think but it talks to the incredible vindictiveness and pettiness and cattiness of Donald Trump. Because I'm like racking my brain trying to think what the hell it is that John Cornyn did or said that was so incredibly offensive to Trump that he would come after his scalp. I mean, I think at one point in 2023, he may have said something about where he didn't think, when I guess Trump was running in the Republican primary, that he didn't think Trump would make the best general election candidate. That's it. John Cornyn did not vote for the impeachment. John Cornyn changed positions in order to please Trump on things like the filibuster. John Cornyn has voted with Trump practically 100% of the time. John Cornyn is a conservative Republican.
But I think it is that Paxton said that Paxton made an effort to contest the election 2020. And I think that's really what made him the favorite.
This is what I'll tell you, though. And this is why I keep saying that Democrats need to come out and independents and anti-Trumpers need to come out of every ¿cómo se llama? Nook and cranny to vote. And then there needs to be a backlash to all of this district rigging that's going on. Because the people that Donald Trump is making sure get elected, the guy who beat Massey, the guy who took over for Marjorie Taylor Greene, this Paxton people, a guy, they are, I mean, if the Republican Congress kowtows and bends the knee and does not hold the Trump administration accountable now, that there are still people like Tillis and Cassidy and Cornyn in there, God help us. God help this country if we are beholden to a Republican Congress that is full of Ken Paxtons and people of that ilk, people in Donald Trump's image who owe him their position.
All right, I'm going to change gears here for a second because today on the live show, we talked about this Kevin Hart roast. And I know you're not a fan of roasts in general.
Hate them.
In particular, we talked about this George Floyd joke that was made by comedian Tony Hinchcliffe, who
hate him.
I know you're not a fan of. Kevin said that it wasn't a tasteful joke to our culture, but he wasn't going to stop production, that roast jokes are supposed to go low. What do you make of this?
Look, I remember when the Tom Brady, and apparently these roasts are a big business because Netflix is paying huge amounts. I think the
tremendous stars showing
I think the amount that was reported for the Tom Brady roast was like $25 million. Mm-hmm. And I remember after that roast, Tom Brady had to apologize to his wife and da-da-da-da-da. Okay, but listen, everybody there is alive and it's not symbolic of something. And so I think that if you want to go to a roast and you want to subject yourself to that and you want to take the hits, that's one thing. And if you want to go like in the Tom Brady roast, they went after the coach of the not New York, what is it?
Bill Belichick. The Patriots?
No. The owner.
Oh, Robert Kraft.
Robert Kraft.
Owner of the Patriots.
Right, the owner of the Patriots who's 100 years old and married to like a 20-year-old.
Yeah, and had a massage parlor.
And the whole thing. Yeah, Brady didn't like that. Mm-hmm. And Brady didn't like the jokes against his ex-wife.
Yes.
And I think ended up having to apologize to her for it and the mother of his children. And both of them are alive.
Yeah.
And the owner of the Patriots was there, kind of laughing along.
Well, it's funny because Joy's whole point today, she said, was that's the point. The people in the room are fair game. And she didn't like that they were making fun of not just George Floyd, but she mentioned Charlie Kirk because people that had
but
passed.
It's not only that they're dead. Because if you want to make a joke about, I don't know, George Washington, that's one thing. But not George Floyd, whose family is listening to this and watching Kevin Hart laugh along. Mm-hmm. George Floyd, who had that little daughter, remember?
Yeah.
Who's got siblings, who's got friends. And it's, but I also think Kevin Hart has a point because I heard that clip from his interview and he said, if you don't like it, don't watch.
Well, I feel that way
about
everything.
And you know what?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, only reason I've seen clips is because you forced me to watch them because we're talking about it as hot topics. Yeah. But if it was up to me, I wouldn't watch the clips. Right. I wouldn't talk about it, and I wouldn't give it more PR. And I think that is the lesson for so much. You're pissed off that Jeff Bezos is at the White House? Don't use Amazon. Don't sign up to Amazon. You're pissed off that Colbert is off the air at CBS? Don't watch CBS. Cancel your Paramount Plus subscription. I mean, we as consumers, the reason that these roasts are going on and that people are getting $25 million is because people are watching them. Mm-hmm. So stop watching the train wreck.
Yes.
A lot of people watch.
But keep watching The View, folks.
Yeah. A lot of people in California told me they watch The View. A lot of people.
People love the show. They do. Speaking of which, I've been telling people to leave us little reviews, 5-star reviews. You should do this on your podcast too, because apparently that's what moves you up the charts. If you go on to the Apple Podcasts app or the Spotify app and you leave reviews, 5-star reviews, and when they do it, I'm saying I'm gonna read them here. I'm gonna mention them here because that'll give people incentive to do it.
So you're reading something, or
I'm gonna read something right now. I'm pulling it up first, but a lot of people talking about how they love me being abused.
By who?
It's implied you enjoy, but it's not It's
Is
not
it just
clear.
me and Joy?
That abuse me?
So are we the only authentic ones on this podcast?
That's right. Yes. All right.
Everybody else pretends to be nice to you?
Everyone else. I love to watch Brian talk to the host of The View, especially Anna and Joy. 5 stars from Paulie Hi-Ho. Brian, this is your best podcast yet. This is from Old Red Hair. I couldn't stop laughing from Brian's MTA wallet phone story to the Devil Wears Prada to the spur-of-the-moment dinner with Jose Andres. And now to top it all off, Kathy Griffin. What an incredible way to end an eventful week. Behind the Table does not disappoint. Look at that. That was one of ours they're talking about.
You know who I filmed with yesterday, and he loves The View, is Phil Rosenthal from Feeding Phil.
Yeah, Everybody Loves Raymond.
He has this diner in L.A. where they don't take reservations, and people wait 3 hours to get in.
Oh, was it good?
But I know a guy.
You always know a guy.
No, well, I know Phil. I went to his house to film with him, to film something with him, and then I was in KTLA for their morning show, and I walk into the green room, and I don't recognize most celebrities, and I don't get starstruck easily.
You send me photos and say, who would I just take a picture with, is usually what you do.
Yes, but was I starstruck. This is one of my favorite people. Do you know who Laura Pausini is?
I do not.
Oh, I can't with you.
I know, I'm sorry.
You are so monocultural.
Uh-huh.
Laura Pausini is this amazing songstress. Please, people, podcast listeners and viewers, leave this man a comment and explain to him who Laura Pausini is.
Okay.
She has the most gorgeous voice. She's Italian, but she sings in Italian, in English, in Spanish, and she's doing a concert tour all over the United States right now. She was in L.A. She's in L.A. today, actually. Is today the 28th? Or is today the 29th?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. If today is the 28th, she's got
there.
a concert at the
All right.
Peacock Theater.
Okay.
And I almost stayed. I almost called you and pretended to be sick.
No.
Because then Pitbull is going to be at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah.
It's at the Hollywood Bowl. Those are the best concerts.
Mr. Worldwide.
I really, really came very close to calling you and pretending I had.
I might have come. I
don't know what.
My wife's dream is to go to the
hantavirus.
Hollywood Bowl for some reason.
Oh,
so
you've never been?
Never been. I'd like to find a good concert to take her to. That'd be fun.
There are no bad concerts in the Hollywood Bowl. There are no bad concerts. It's one of the best venues, and
they're flashing the need to go sign, so I have to go here. I'm sorry. Hold on. Thank you for joining me,
you
Anna
don't
Navarro.
want to read more people telling you how great you are?
I really enjoy that.
Your need for affirmation is clinical.
I wonder why. Thanks for joining me, Anna Navarro. Tomorrow we have an all-new View, and it's all with your friends. It's Wanda Sykes is here, and
I love Wanda.
And your favorite chef, Jose Andres.
I love Jose.
We'll see you next week.
Behind the Table is executive produced by Brian Teta. Supervising producers are Nathan Getty and Summer Shake, with associate producer Emily Darcy and editor Brian Davis. Our director of publicity is Laurie Hogan, and our senior manager of production operation is Enza Dolcenini. From ABC Audio, Trevor Hastings serves as senior producer, with director of podcast programming Josh Cohan.